Welcome to the Vault Podcast and Reviews, where music still matters. You can check out all our shows at YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, and Podomatic. Please rate, review, and most importantly, subscribe. Also, make sure to check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you like what we're doing and you'd like to contribute to help us keep the show going, check out patreon.com/thevault. All right, today we're going to be reviewing the album A Feast of Virgin Souls. Oh, what a title, from the band Wooden Stake, 2015 release. And before we go any further, we're going to talk about some of the things about this album as far as content goes. And maybe you guys can learn a little bit from what we have to say and apply it to how you approach albums going forward, regardless of genre or anything. If you look at this album cover, I won't get into it too far. It is pretty over-the-top, gruesome, occult, if you want to say that. And that's by design. I understand. You know, the genre, you know, this music is in the death, doom, metal kind of, yeah, maybe a little bit of black metal, mostly death and doom. They use a lot of the imagery and stuff like that. So when I saw the album title and the cover, I was like, ooh, all right. And I started reading the song titles. I'm like, yep, this definitely is not my thing. However, unlike many people, this doesn't offend me at all, even though I don't agree with any of it, if that makes sense. We're going to do this review based on the music, not whether anything offends us, not whether we don't like the album cover or the song lyrics or the title. It's going to be all about the songs. And Brent, I'll just let you touch on a little bit of that, about your opinion about the stuff I just said.
As far as I'm concerned, the album struck me as just so over the top, it was hard to be offended. It's not like some of the who's the black metal band that actually got in trouble for like the real dead animals on stage.
Probably Watain. I know they threw real pig's blood on people in New York.
Yeah. I mean, it's stuff like that. Okay, I can get a little offended because these guys are actually serious. You know what I mean? I mean, some of those bands are really serious about some of that stuff. And this one, they might be, I don't know. But it was so over the top. It was so hard to be offended. And I'm a huge, like, H.P. Lovecraft, Edgar Allan Poe, like, horror writer fan that, I don't know, some of the stuff in this one just, maybe I'm numb to it, maybe that's wrong, but a lot of it was just kind of funny. It was so over the top, it was funny.
Well, and I approached this, you know, me and you've had this discussion so many times, countless times, and I've tried to tell other people, some people get it, some people don't. You know, music's music.
Yep.
You could have taken this same album and put a picture of Buddy Holly on the cover of it, and it still would have been awesome. Like, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. It's just all about the music, and I understand the imagery and stuff can add to it, and that's, you know, that's fine, whatever. Oh, before I go much further, though, this was a request, and I don't care what we're given a request to review. We're going to review it. So, again, any requests you got, send them to us. We put them out on Mondays, so send them. All right, let's get started. What'd you think? I'll let you kick things off.
I enjoyed it. Honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The first couple songs, it didn't do a tremendous amount for me. Well, one obviously was the intro. I mean, you know, whatever. But
which was kind of cool for what it was, I thought.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. Like I said, it wasn't anything earth-shattering to me, but it was a good intro. You know, it set the tone very, very well. Once I got to the actual title track, A Feast of Virgin Souls, I actually really enjoyed that song. The moments, and this is probably completely backwards for like this type of, you know, this kind of genre that they were going for, but I really enjoyed the parts of this album that were a lot faster. Some of the slower parts were kind of, they kind of wore on me after a little bit, but no, overall, I thought it was a very enjoyable listen.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I don't know, you know, this is a you know, doom and death metal mix. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty good mix of both. I mean,
it is.
So I don't know if there's a right or wrong. Like you said it might be a little backwards, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. I mean, it can just go either way. It's pretty free form on this stuff. Yeah, I thought the intro was cool for what it was. Rise from the Bleeding Coffin. That was another song I really liked. One thing that this album is consistent with is the riffs. Guitar riffs, first track, well, the intro. Second track to the last track, fantastic.
Yes.
It's got the recording quality has got this this rawness to it, but it's still clean where you can hear everything. So I think it fits this genre really well, which is, something a little bit different. Usually it's either too clean or too raw, and this is, I think, perfect in the middle. But yeah, these riffs are very memorable. The music is maybe I could hear some Candlemass a little bit, maybe some Merciful Fate, a little bit of the new wave of British heavy metal stuff as far as like the guitar goes. But that's the one thing that just was constant that kept me interested in this album was the guitar riffs. What do you have to say about the guitar riffs or the music? Just anything else you want to elaborate on?
The guitar work was great. It really, truly was. Even the songs that were just kind of like, I was sitting there listening to it, it's like, The music was always solid. So, I mean, take the criticism with a little bit of grain of salt because musically it's very solid. I enjoyed the vocals great. I don't want to get too far ahead on that. But the thing that this album is perfect on is it sets the theme at the intro and it carries it through the very last note.
I agree.
Once you see like some of the album titles and the cover art and everything, you'll instantly understand what theme they were going for. And I think just the way the whole album was mixed and came together and stuff did a just perfect job setting the tone. I think it did it better than some other albums and stuff that we've reviewed as far as just throughout from beginning to end, that same sound. Now, eventually that wore on me as it went through, but that's just me. I mean, it was very moody. And I thought they did a fantastic job capturing that imagery musically.
And that's my favorite kind of music, regardless of what genre it is the kind that paints the picture and sets the mood with the tones and the melodies and just the aura of it. And some people like to have their music, the picture painted with lyrics. I mean, it can go, and then some like both, so it can go any way. But for me, yeah, I agree with you. The music, especially the intro, we keep going back to the intro. Intro set the tone. Kind of knew what you were going to get going forward. Mm-hmm. However, looking at the cover, I don't think you're expecting any clean vocals, and you mentioned that, and we're going to jump into that. Man, that was one of my favorite parts. The vocals, looks like the random clean vocals. I wish there was more of them, but a lot of times we talk about the good cop, bad cop vocals. For those of you who don't know, that's like the you could also call it the Kill Switch Engage special, or the Screamo special was like singing, screaming, singing, screaming. But there's ways to do it in different genres, and when it's done really well, and I think this is one of them. Opeth is also another example of a band that can do it really well.
Yes.
Between the Buried and Me, also, just throwing that out there, they do it well. But nice transition here, and the female vocals, again, I don't think you're expecting that generally in a death metal or doom. No. So, and she's got a really good guttural sound, and the clean vocals, like I said, amazing. I wish there was more of those, but I thought that was pretty good vocals all the way through. Again, matching the guitar tones and matching the whole mood. So what else you got on the vocals? You already mentioned a little bit of it.
Well, like the whole album, just to go into, I mean, you can see like if you go to like their Bandcamp or whatever, you can see kind of what the theme is, what they're going for. It's kind of this versus, like there's two different parties involved and it's like a versus thing. And I think the change in vocals set that up perfectly to get that feeling. And it goes back to like what I said. I mean, they do a fantastic job combining all the imagery and stuff, I think, musically and vocally and everything. I thought it was very well done. Like you said, the first time I heard a woman, like my jaw dropped. I mean, no offense to women singers, they're fantastic, but I was not expecting that. Looking at this, I was thinking of something, more, I guess, traditional kind of death metal sounding guy,
Right.
And, here's this woman that's like, dude, hell yeah, this is awesome. So, yeah, I was blown away the first time I heard it. I thought the mix was pretty good. I'm always a big fan of the clean vocals, so I can always, do more of them.
Especially when they're in sharp contrast to the music for me.
Yes, especially when it's weird. I love that kind of, it's almost awkward, right? And I love that. But, no, I thought they were very well done. She's got a hell of a voice, and I would love to hear more.
Well, kind of a short and sweet review. I mean, there wasn't there was, I forgot to write it down, but there's under 10 tracks on this, I believe. So, and the songs are short enough, but there's enough variety to keep you coming back. I mean, in fact, like in this, these genres, I like the shorter songs because it makes me want to go back and listen to it more. So,
Yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at their Bandcamp page, and it's actually says over 40 minutes, and there's right at 10 tracks.
Oh, I thought there was less than that, but
Yeah. Now,
still, I think 40 minutes is a good number, but it didn't seem like it was that long even to me when I was listening to it.
no, it really did. It goes through really, really well. And honestly, the last song I thought was actually one of my favorites. Is the Curse of the Cauldron Countess.
Yeah,
which got to give him some points, some props on the titles on some of this. But I actually really enjoyed that track, and like I said, that was the one to close it. I thought it was great.
All right, so do you have any negatives before we jump into the rating that we already haven't mentioned?
Like I said, for me, it's probably going to be a positive for a lot of people that listen to it. So like I said, take it with a grain of salt. But the whole feel almost became oppressive by the end of it, which I'm sure is part of the point. But to me, it kind of I got kind of tired of some of it. And that's not to say it's bad or anything. It's just maybe my mood whenever I was reviewing it wasn't the greatest either. So, but anyway, it eventually just kind of started like wearing on me. And I don't know how else to put it other than it was just kind of, it was almost like I was like, walking in mud, trying to get to the end of it at some time. And I'd said this about, who was it? Was it Cage? That it's almost like too much of a good thing.
That's a good comparison, actually.
And because any of the song, there's not a bad song. So let me first say that there is not a song on here that I was like, dude, this song sucks.
Right, I agree.
But at the same time, now put this on like my iPod or whatever, and put it on shuffle where it's like mixing around a few different bands and genres and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm going to enjoy every song on this album when it comes up. As a whole, eventually the oppressive feeling just kind of wore on me and made me kind of lose a little bit of interest, like I said, until the fast parts came up or she hit a really good, kind of vocal thing there. And so that's my biggest negative on this, because like we said, the vocals were good. Could use more clean, but then again, that's just personal preference. And the music was good and tight. So that's my biggest complaint.
I guess my complaint, if I have to have one, was just not enough of the songs really stood out. I didn't probably quite feel like I was kind of going through the mud or having that, the Cage analogy used there. I see what you're talking about, but I think this one held my attention a little bit more than that Cage album did, because the songs at least differentiated enough.
Yeah, there is that.
Than some of the Cage songs. So. Let's just jump into the rating here. I think we've covered this up. So 1 star being the worst, 5 stars being the best. What do you give this one?
As long as you go into it open-minded or completely aware of what you're getting and you're not afraid to let yourself be shocked, I will give this a solid 4.
That's interesting. That's the exact same score I have. So, settling on 4 stars. Again, not a fan of the album art, not a fan of the lyrical content, not a fan of the titles. But this is music. Yes. I'm here to check out the riffs. I'm here to check out the singing. Don't care about what they're talking about. Me and you've been down this road with so many genres before, no matter what it is. So, this is definitely something to check out. Like you said, if you like death metal, if you like doom, if you like metal in general, and chances are, if you do, you're not going to be offended by this, Brent. I think me and you were typically kind of on an island on this stuff, and that's fine, And hey, if you like metal and you don't like this because of the content, that's your call. That's understandable. Yeah. Everybody can have their own opinion, but
yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's so over the top that it's hard for me, and forgive me, if it is serious, which I'm, but it was hard for me to take it seriously because it was so over the top. And to be honest, even with the cover art, even with, some of the lyrics and this and that, and I'm usually the big lyrics guy and, all that, I'm more offended by Sam Hunt's existence than this album.
Okay, so what offends you more? You gotta pick the most offensive. Sam Hunt, Blake Shelton, Florida Georgia Line.
Oh, God.
I'm going with Florida Georgia Line on that.
Just because of like skinny jeans.
How about we put them in the cage that's on this album cover?
Oh,
we should put them in that cage.
Great. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
All right, we're going to close the show on that. Again, this is a 4-star album, Wooden Stake, Feast of Virgin Souls. Wow, what a title. Make sure to check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe, rate, and review on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, and Podomatic. If you'd like to keep supporting the show, help us keep going, help us keep putting more episodes out and get in front of more viewers, check out patreon.com/thevault. And until next time, see ya.